Hey everybody, welcome to For the Show. My name is Marcus and I'm joined by my good friend Tyler. Today we're going to be talking about season 3 of Invincible, which just wrapped a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk about our opinions on this season and give it a review at the end of it. And we are going to talk spoilers, so if you haven't watched this season yet, I highly recommend watching that first and rejoining us. So this season, in my opinion, is definitely much darker than the last couple of seasons. And the overall arc of this story, I think, is mostly tied to Mark's transformation as a superhero and him kind of figuring out his path, because there was a lot of internal fighting for his character in the first couple of seasons, obviously between him trying to be different from Omni-Man, not trying to kill anybody and value life, which is something that he was trying to teach Oliver, who actually ended up killing 2 villains in this season. And Mark goes through some extremely traumatic things, and which eventually lead him to the decision that he would be okay with actually killing people at this point if they hurt his family or anybody that he loves. So that's kind of my summation of like the main arc of Mark's character in this season. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's big changes there, where he's literally in some episodes just kind of given up in a way. And like there's a lot of times where he's like I think it's the second season when he goes out to find Omni-Man, and like the bug shows up at his house and is like, hey, save us and 40 million people, and he just runs off to do it without like disobeying Cecil and all that. And this one, he like when they first introduced Aaron Paul's Powerplex, and he like just turns off the TV. I think it's definitely shown like 2 sides of him and who he's becoming, and by the end of like the last scene of like the last episode, how different of a person he's become. And so I'm definitely curious to see how that goes forward in season 4, and to see how dark he gets.
Yeah, because like what you brought up about Cecil is a good point, because like throughout the show, I know that a lot of people felt like Mark was too whiny and he was too like weak. He would always get his ass kicked in all kinds of different fights, and it was getting old after a while. And in this season, he's supposed to be like, you know, badass and pretty much like the strongest he's ever been. There's still a lot of sulking on his end because he's going through so many traumatic things. And that turns into anger at the end of the season, which was interesting to see. But I actually found myself agreeing with Cecil. Like, you know, I actually enjoyed Cecil's episode a lot this season, where it kind of showed his background and why he made the decision to bring those, I guess, what are they, droid people? I don't know what they call them in the show. I don't remember.
Yeah, cyborg something or others.
Cyborgs.
Yeah. I don't think, I'm sure they do have a name for them, but I can't remember. But yeah, no, I really love the line from Cecil where he's like, yeah, you can be a good guy or you can be the guy who saves the world, kind of thing. And so I thought that was a really great take from it. And honestly, this season I think is the most I like Cecil, even though he's like definitely being put up as like the antagonist, but also Mark is in a way. So it's really good kind of duality between the two.
It was actually kind of better for the story that Mark decided to split from the GDA, because that tension between them was getting annoying. It was like, Mark, like, you can't do both. Like, you can't. And it was kind of funny that Mark always wanted to, like, this whole season, he wanted to throw people in jail. I'm like, you're not going to throw some of these people in jail. They're too strong. Like, these people always end up getting out. Like, look, Doc Seismic got out and almost killed, like, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, Cecil had to save everybody. So it was frustrating at a certain point to be like, you can't have both. And I think he finally realized that at the end, once he fought Conquest and Power, what was his name? Powerplex. Aaron Paul's character.
Mm-hmm.
Powerplex. And I think that, you know, the show does a good job of like making you sympathize with the villains, mm-hmm. just enough to where you can see where they're coming from. But they're also still like fucking crazy, and they're still psychopaths. So
yeah, memes aside, the whole Aaron Paul, like, you can't keep getting away with this from Breaking Bad. But like I definitely, his episodes was one of my favorite.
Really liked that episode because it showed like a human's perspective of what happened in Chicago when Omni-Man was trying to teach Mark a lesson.
Uh-huh.
That was really cool because yeah, like you're seeing it from their perspective and they're just fighting, but like as a human you'd see these two people flying around and like creating sonic booms and crashing through buildings and shit. It would be terrifying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool to see. And kind of going off of that, like I did notice this season the animation was like way better than it was the past couple seasons. There's definitely still a lot that needs to happen with the animation in my opinion. Like I have been watching Demon Slayer and the things that they do in that show blow my mind.
Yeah.
Like that's like the top tier level of like 2D animation I think that's been done so far. And so like going from that to this is like, wow, this is kind of lame, you know, but like it's definitely a step up, but they still, I feel like can go even higher, especially this because this is Prime. Like who watches anything on Prime Video anyways? This has to be, other than The Boys, this is probably the only hit that they have really. So
yeah,
I think they need to start like putting more money into the animation and I feel like they're also kind of probably trying to save money because of the voice acting. You know, they have so many like A-list celebrities in this show, like Seth Rogen and J.K. Simmons, that probably also affects their budget. And but because they were in only one episode this season, which was kind of a bummer in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's kind of another thing I wanted to talk about too, is just like how much stuff they actually have going on, kind of thing.
Yeah,
is just like I know there's a lot of stuff from like I think season 1 and stuff, like the brain squids coming back, and there was just so much like I think one of my big complaints with this season was just like how the pacing was in some aspects, like Mark and Eve's relationship kind of thing like went by like super quick. Like I still think it worked because we all kind of expected that to go there. Then they spend like a lot of time on Rex and
Shrinking Ray, I think is her name.
Ray, yeah, Shrinking Ray. And they spend a lot of time with them, and then it kind of just goes into the trope where it's like, we're bringing a background character to get the spotlight just to die, kind of thing.
Just to die. Yeah.
And
yeah, I agree.
And I just feel so like I just want more Omni-Man at this point. Like I want some kind of answer to it, because it's like 2 seasons and it's like 2 little sprinkles of like Omni-Man kind of thing, and I'm just like, I want to move farther along. But now we're going back to Titan, the kind of Luke Cage-esque character who's like taking on the machine guy for like the world mafia kind of thing, and I'm just like, it's cool, you know, it's kind of filler, it's kind of typical for like every anime show, but like I kind of wish they would condense.
Yeah, like the whole Invincible war where they had those other marks come in, like I felt that was super rushed. Like, there wasn't even like one scene where Mark interacted with the other dimension marks. I think there was like maybe one, the episode where Mark goes into the future with those 2 guys who stole the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. I hated that episode. I thought it was so boring. That was like my least favorite episode of the whole season. What do you think about Oliver?
I'm definitely curious where he goes, kind of thing, because he's getting all those mixed signals too, kind of thing. Because like they're like, yeah, killing's bad or whatever, and like I mean he goes right off the bat and like kills the twins, and I feel like he's kind of where the audience is. There's like, what do you mean? Where are you going? Like, what do you mean killing's bad, kind of thing? And
yeah,
like I think they did a good job with Oliver. I definitely think it was rushed too. Like that was another one where it was like, maybe we cut the Rex subplot and focus more on the potential sociopath that we have in our midst. But I'm definitely interested for sure. Like I'm curious to see where it's gonna go.
This next season, I'm hoping that, like you were saying, we get more Omni-Man. I have a feeling that this whole thing with Conquest still being alive is going to come back to bite Cecil in the ass. I really think that Conquest is going to come back and want revenge.
Yeah, if he can live through that, he can live through like the nuclear explosion he has planned for him. So
yeah. And then that whole subplot that they introduced at the very end of the season with the devil guy, I don't remember his name. He was in the first season.
Yes. Hellboy.
Donnie.
Something.
Yeah, I almost said Donnie Darko.
Clancy Brown's character.
Yeah. Oh, it's Clancy Brown.
Yeah, it's Mr. Krabs, baby. Damien Darkblood.
Damien Darkblood. And I actually heard that subplot is new to this show. It wasn't part of the comics.
Interesting.
Because I guess everything in the show has been very true to the comics so far, and that subplot's actually something they're adding to the show specifically. So nobody really knows where it's going to go.
Interesting. Oh, another thing I wanted to ask you about too was Robot taking Rex's name. Did you do you remember that?
Yeah, I did, and that character just gives me the weirdo. Like I don't know. He's just like he's so awkward, you know, and like that was awkward. Like it's not about you, dude.
I guess that part's from the comic. I saw something that was like similarities in season 3 or whatever, but I guess that's from the comic. It just felt really forced. And like if I was Rex, I feel like I'd be offended. And I was like, first you took my body essentially, and without my permission, and now you're taking my name. Like,
yeah, yeah, that's true. Just because you want to be with that one chick who looks like a 12-year-old. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that character very much. I never have. But I want to talk about specifically like the last episode. So the last episode, we see Mark kind of helping clean up New York after his fight with the Invincibles. And of course, Conquest shows up at like the worst time, and they start fighting again. And so that episode was my favorite of the whole season, for obvious reasons. Like the fight scene was it was crazy. The animation was awesome. Like the way that they were moving around, and like the way that there was one scene in particular that I was like, well, that was really cool. I think it was when Conquest was flying right at Invincible, and he was like, wait, stop. And then he like stops, and you see all the air like continue to move past him or whatever. That was really cool. So I'm excited to see what happens in the next season, but I hope that they continue that animation style, and I hope that they even take it further. But do you think that kind of wrapped up the season enough for you, or were you wanting more?
I was pretty happy with it, I guess, just from kind of going on with the show kind of thing. Like, it was definitely a great fight, and get to see Negan and Glenn beat each other's brains out again. And honestly, now that you say it, I guess I could want more kind of thing. It's just the pacing in the show is just kind of in general for me kind of whatever, but hopefully it doesn't take too long to get the next season kind of thing.
I hope that they can kind of keep to the schedule they had for this season, because it seemed like it came out pretty quickly after the second one.
So the rating that I would give Invincible season 3, I'd give it an 8. I liked it. It was solid. I keep harping on the pacing issues for me, but it wasn't enough to like make me want to stay away from the show or anything like that. Yeah, I'd say a solid 8 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. I would kind of lean closer to a 9, but for me, season 1 of Invincible kind of stands at a 9.5. I really, really liked the first season of this show. I think that it was like one of the best first seasons of like an adult animated show that I had seen of this genre. You know, the way it sets up the characters, like the twist with Omni-Man, like it was just so good. And the second season did not live up to that. The second season, in my opinion, was much worse than the first season. And then this season is just behind the first season. So I would give it an 8 also.
If you liked Invincible season 3 or hated it, let us know in the comments below. Give us a like, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, all that cool stuff. And yeah, thank you very much for watching in. We'll see you next time.
Later.